The next speaker we have in the panel is Mr. Surya Prakash Mahapatra. Surya is a global head, talent transformation for Wipro and India. So over to you, Surya. We're waiting to hear from you.
Thank you, Sujan. Now, talking about leadership, redefining leadership, as some of my co-panelists have already said, the fundamentals of leadership do not change, or they haven't changed. The foundations remain the same. Leadership is all about enabling, empowering, and inspiring people. It used to be that centuries ago. It's the same today. But what's the difference? What is changing? What is the need for redefining leadership today? Essentially, the fact of the matter is we don't have to redefine leadership. We'll have to redefine the leadership journey. So in the context of what's happening today, whether we talk about COVID, whether we talked about the geopolitical situations, whether we talked about the global crisis, whether we talked about the turbulence that we all are experiencing, the uncertainties, the volatilities in our lives, in our societies, in our profession, in our organizations. In the context of all that is happening, the leaders need to evolve. They need to stay current with the times. They need to align to the times better. While the fundamentals do not change, leaders need to evolve to deal with the situation better today, to deal with an environment which is unpredictable, which is volatile, which is turbulent, which is filled with uncertainties. And for leaders to be able to do that, they have to rediscover their journey, because leaders now really need to rediscover the fundamentals. I think some of those ideas and nuggets Rajesh was talking about a few minutes ago, very, very precious. So when we talk about the leadership journey, I kind of break it up into three parts, three stages of the journey. The first one in my mind is find your balance. The second stage of the journey is find your strengths. And the third stage of the journey, which is create impact. So when we talk about finding balance, today we are living in times of contradictions. We are living in times of ambiguities. So when we talk about contradictions, this is the contradiction. The conflict is between life and livelihood, economy and ecology, health and business. Whether you take care of customers or you take care of your people. So these contradictions are really sometimes mind-boggling. And the question is, when I'm trying to fix one problem, there are 10 problems which are cropping up. When I'm trying to manage one, there are many others which are wanting my attention, immediate attention. How do I find the balance? How do I find the balance in the midst of all these imbalancing factors, in the midst of these contradictions, in the midst of these conflicting situations? I think the most important thing is the ability to be comfortable with discomfort. I think that's the most important thing. And leaders struggle today. We have seen celebrities committing suicide. We have seen leaders committing suicide. We have seen professionals breaking down. The cases of nervous breakdown, marriage breakdown, health issues just cropping up. It's the issue is the inability to find the balance, because we are in the midst of contradictions, in the midst of conflicting situations, and we are not able to find that balance. But to me, leadership is all about finding that balance. The journey begins in terms of finding the balance. So in the midst of all these imbalancing factors, the way to find the balance is to find the balancing factor in life. That balancing factor is important. That balancing factor starts with awareness. I think what Rajesh was talking about, he said the playbook exists, but we are not aware. You need to find out. So I think the journey begins, the finding one's balance begins by trying to improve that awareness. Finding, the journey begins with discovery. Trying to find out what is that balancing factor. Human beings come with infinite potential. All of us come with infinite potential. We need to find that. I think that self-awareness is absolutely important. So here, in this particular stage, the skills which are important or the attributes which are important are humility, self-awareness, resilience, openness to learn. I think these are the attributes which can help us find our balance. The best, calm and composure. These attributes will help us find our balance in the midst of conflicting situations. If we lose our mental balance, if we give into aggression, if we give into our complexes, then we are going to get drifted away. So finding the balance is the very first stage of this journey of rediscovering leadership for the new era. I think the second stage of this journey is finding our strength. The leader has to understand his or her strength, what he or she is good at, what is his unique value proposition, where he or she is not good at, and where he or she can find those resources. So I think it's all about finding your strengths, and your strengths can be within yourself, and the strengths can be outside, because we live in an interdependent world today. We are not living in a world where I can say that I can lead the world, my organization, my teams without depending on anybody. No, I think we are living in an interdependent world where we need to harness the practices of collaboration. We need to develop interinterestedness. I think the attributes which are required at this stage, where a leader is trying to find his or her strengths, the attributes that are required are collaboration, ability to build communities, ability to build networks. And when we're talking about strengths, digital is a very powerful strength today, is a very powerful resource. How do we look at analytics to get important insights about business? How do we depend on prescriptive analysis? How do we depend on descriptive analysis, prescriptive analysis, predictive analysis, analytics to really take important decisions, to receive key business insights and then take right decisions? I think this stage is all about finding one's strengths. And the strengths are inner and also external. And the last one, the third important stage is create impact. Because once you find the balance, once you find your strengths, it's all about going out there and creating impact. So creating impact is not just about creating impact for your customers. Creating impact is all about creating impact for your customers, your stakeholders, your team members, your family members, the family members of your team members, the extended family of organizations, the communities, the society. I think as leaders, we are responsible not just for our teams and organizations. We are responsible for our families, for the extended family, for the community at large. It's all about creating impact. And the attributes required at this stage are: how do you really reimagine the future? How do you really redesign, repurpose business models, our operating models? I think design thinking is extremely important. Empathy is extremely important. Agility is extremely important. Speed, execution at speed is extremely important. I think these attributes are very, very important at this particular stage. So in my opinion, redefining leadership is about redefining the leadership journey. And the journey has 3 stages: find your balance, find your strengths, create impact. Thank you.
Superb, Surya. It was wonderful listening to you with a lot of profoundness and confidence and commitment that you shared your thoughts. We could feel that you believe in it, whatever you said. And finding the balance, finding the strength, and creating the impact. Easier said than done. Most leaders find it very difficult to put all these three into action. And finding the balance, I think, is the first and foremost thing which becomes very, very important of self-awareness and understanding humility. Human beings need to learn humility. We've been tested by the COVID this time. A small virus has challenged the human race. So high time human beings as a species on Mother Earth needs to understand that humility is a virtue. All of us need to possess it and demonstrate on a day-to-day basis. More so leaders, as you rightly said, Surya. We'll come back to you.